Hey, winner. Welcome back to Red Hot Mindset. I am so glad you're tuning in with me today, and I am so thankful for you. I'm praying the beginning of this year is blessed for you and that you continue to ask God to guide your steps as we continue to embrace the unknown. Today, on our Thursday Tidbits, we dive into the topic of nutrition and what it means for busy moms, how to encourage our kids in their health, and how to embrace it for ourselves. To help me with this topic, I have my good friend Erin here to help me out. I actually met Erin online in a homeschooling group, and we realized just how much we had in common from blogging to fitness to homeschooling that we instantly became friends. I'm excited to share her with you today. Erin Grieger is a motherhood lifestyle blogger who focuses on a mom's journey with her health, home life, and homeschooling. When at home, you can usually find her in yoga pants, schooling her 3 girls, and dreaming of the beach and sunshine while eating dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate too. She is married to her husband, Wes, and before having kids was a high school math teacher and taught fitness classes to help her stay in shape. Post kids, she continued her fitness journey by building a successful online fitness business and incorporating a blog into the mix. Thursday Tidbits are short and sweet episodes filled with tangible tips you can implement immediately. My goal with these topics is that you can use them to fuel your growth as you focus on being intentional in every area of your life. Let's get into Thursday's Tidbit. Hey, Erin, welcome to Red Hot Mindset. I'm so glad you're with us today on Thursday Tidbits, and I'm really excited to get started with you today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And since this is your first time on Thursday Tidbits, I'd love for you just to take a little time, share about yourself and your family, whatever you think that we need to know so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me, Gabe. I'm super excited to be here. And welcome to anyone who is listening. Thank you so much for plugging in. My name is Erin. I am a wife and a mom of 3 girls. Our girls are 11, 8, and 6. And I was a high school math teacher before having kids. I always knew that I wanted to be a math teacher. My mom was a math teacher until my brother and I were born, and then she stayed at home with us. And I always knew from a young age that that's what I wanted to do. I love math and I love being with people and I love teaching. So I always knew I wanted to be a math teacher. So I did that after college for 6 years until our oldest was born. And then I decided to stay at home. And as soon as we were pregnant with our oldest, my mom started talking to me about homeschooling, and I wanted nothing to do with homeschooling. I was a teacher. We moved to a good school district, with nothing to do with it. Well, then over the years, I started talking to a few people, running into new homeschool moms and asking them how they were doing these things. And I started to learn a lot more about it. And I was very interested in it. So when our oldest was in kindergarten, we started looking more into homeschooling. And once we found a program that we really liked, we decided to give it a try. My 6-year-old wanted to do it at the time. I felt like, if I don't give this a shot, I'm going to regret it. So we decided to give homeschooling a shot. And now she is in 6th grade and we've been doing it and we love it. So now that I'm a homeschool mom, I was doing fitness stuff on the side so we could afford for me to stay home. And then now that I'm more in the homeschooling thing again, my passion for math has come back, and now I want to start doing some videos online to help people with math. So I feel like my story's come a little full circle, and I'm excited to see where it leads.
I love it. I love it. And I love you and I met on a homeschooling group. And
Yeah.
I love how we just thought we had so much in common and we just became friends and we kind of clicked and doing the same homeschool program and all these things. So super fun.
Yeah.
And have the same background in a way because I did some fitness instructing and love that side. Not so much a math teacher, but I was decent at math. But today we are talking about nutrition. And I'm really, really excited to dive into this because actually I struggle with the nutrition side. Not that I don't want to be healthy, but I am a mom of very active boys. We lead a busy life of activities but at the same time, I want to teach them proper nutrition on what fuels their body in a healthy way. But with a busy schedule, sometimes that's really, really hard to do. So I would love for you just to share a little bit about your own story with this area and why this topic matters to you.
Okay, so I have quite a journey with the nutrition side as well. Let me start with saying that both of my grandmothers are were big ladies. Okay. They both struggled with their weight. One was always on some kind of diet. I remember it was called, one of them was like the cottage cheese diet because she ate like a ton of cottage cheese.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but my grandmother's always struggled with her weight. My mom and I are both short in stature. And so carrying an extra 5, 10 pounds looks a lot heavier on a smaller frame person. And so growing up, my mom always tried to be good about getting us vegetables and fruits and not having too much junk, which, I really appreciated. But I still struggled with my weight personally. Now, other people might have looked at me and thought, oh, you're fine. You know what I mean? But in high school, I was the bigger one of the group. That's always how I felt. And even in college, I tried so many fad diets. It's not even funny. And I tried all kinds of things. My roommate and I, she bought something crazy off an infomercial once. We even tried that. I mean, like we tried all kinds of things. And it was always to get skinny. That's what it was about for me. I wanted to look good. It was never about being healthy. And which is sad, first of all, to begin with. But it was interesting for me to be able to go through that mental transformation later. So in college, we went through all that kind of stuff. And my first year out of college is my first year teaching high school, and I lived away from home. I lived with a roommate. And I actually think that kind of helps because I think a lot of my issue was I was overeating and I didn't realize it because it was healthy. I thought it was okay. And I was overeating these stuff. Well, I lost some weight then, but I was teaching fitness classes at the time, but I really didn't have a good grasp on nutrition. Like I thought I knew it was healthy. I was familiar with like the health pyramid food system that they had shown us in high school and in college or whatever. But I didn't really understand nutrition and how it affected my body. I knew fruits and vegetables were good, but other than that, I didn't have a good concept. So after college, after I got married, I started becoming an online fitness coach. So to help, like I said, for us with income wise. And then that is when I started to learn a lot more about nutrition because they had nutritionists being able to teach us what kinds of foods and things that we should eat. So I was introduced to what's called the ultimate portion fix. And I learned through nutrition training, portion controlled containers. And it was a game changer for me because that's when I learned how much of each food group you should have each day to be healthy. And that was huge for me to focus on the health aspects versus how I looked. Because once you focus on the health aspects, all of the unhealthy fats and that kind of stuff will go away. And actually, that's when I got in some of the best shape of my life, was learning that some of these foods that I thought were healthy, like some fruits, I learned some vegetables like sweet potatoes, corn, and peas. While they're vegetables per se, your body metabolizes them as carbs. And I was overeating in healthy carbs. I was overeating in fruits. Well, when you overeat in those things, it turns into sugars, which turns into fat because your body can't use it. So once I learned how many vegetables I should be having a day, how many fruits, how many healthy carbs, that was huge for me. That's when I noticed some weight loss. That's when I noticed some toning up. And I didn't feel as fluffy in my midsection, which made me feel better. But that for me was a game changer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because you aren't saying like take out all these things. What you're saying is learn how to use them and feel your body. And I think that's really important because I think diet culture a lot of times tells us, oh, well, gluten's bad, or this is bad, or you need to do keto, or you need to do all these things. And it's like, well, how do we make a lifestyle change? And how do we do this so that it's easy for us as moms to incorporate into our daily life? Because we're busy. We don't want to think about all this stuff. I hate being in the kitchen. I hate cooking. I like eating.
Yeah.
I hate cooking. So I think it is important for us as moms to be talking about nutrition and how to help our kids understand how to have a healthy balance. Why do you think that's important?
Well, very much so as a mom. So I know having 3 young daughters, body image will be a discussion. It may be an issue. And I was blessed to have a father growing up who every day, no joke, told me I was beautiful. I didn't realize at the time how important that was to my self-esteem as a high schooler. But looking back and seeing some of my friends' home lives and what they struggled with food and their self-image, not having that, believing that they were beautiful, I think was a challenge. or created more of a challenge for them. So even though I struggled with that, I had someone who I knew believed in me and thought I was beautiful. I think that was helpful. But I think as a mom, especially with girls, you need to be very careful about this because I never want my girls to feel like they have to be a certain size or a certain weight. I want them to be healthy. So, what really helped me with learning this stuff about nutrition was teaching them about the different food groups. Because I know for myself, like you, I love to eat, I love chocolate, I love my sweets. And I was, like I said, doing those fad diets, I was cutting certain food groups out. And then once I had enough, I would binge on all that stuff. And then I was right back to where I started. And what I loved about this is it's not a diet. It's not telling you to take anything out. It's teaching you what you need to be healthy. And if you choose then to have a treat or to have something more than what's usually allotted on the plan, that's fine. But it's your choice. And now you know, and you can be wise about those choices. And I think teaching our young girls how different food groups react in your body and how they make you feel, and teaching them to be healthy and teaching them to be aware of their choices, I think is what is going to be helpful for them in the long run with their self esteem and how they feel about their body. Because my biggest goal is to hopefully get them not to fall into a trap of a fad diet or an eating disorder or working themselves out ragged, because that's not healthy either. So if I can focus on the health aspects, all three of those other things, those are unhealthy behaviors. So if we can focus on how we can treat our bodies to be healthy, then I think that would help tremendously for them.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And especially having girls. I don't have girls, so I'm not going to have to deal with some of those things because I know I struggled with it when I was in high school and college. So I understood what struggling with body image was like, and struggling with an eating disorder and different things. But with boys, I feel like I need to teach them how to feel their body so that they're not like, oh, I need all these the muscles. It's like the stature, like, oh, I need to exercise all the time. But my boys are competitive gymnasts, so they're in the gym a lot. But they're probably, I'm sometimes struggle thinking, are they getting enough nutrition? So I have a different side of the facet that I'm trying to teach. And I think all of it is important, but especially girls and the body image and helping them to see that they're beautiful. The fact that your dad told you you're beautiful every day says a lot about the way he parented you, because that is important. It's important for us to see that we don't have to be skinny to be beautiful. We have healthy is beautiful, right? Whatever that means for each of us, because we all have different physiologies and different body types and different everything. And health is important because you can also be a very unhealthy skinny. You can
Yes.
look healthy, but you might not be. And
Yes.
I've struggled with that before because people are like, oh, you can eat whatever you want. You run all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm healthy. If I'm not eating right, I'm not healthy. And so it's just interesting.
Exactly. My
Um,
husband and I were actually talking about that last night because I had a friend growing up who she was very thin, and she had some kind of medical test done that, and it said that she was unhealthy. And she was like, well, how's that possible? I'm skinny. Well, my husband is naturally thin. He comes from a long line of tall, lean men. He has a hard time putting on weight. When him and I first met, he was eating McDonald's like 2 or 3 times a day because he was just trying to gain weight and he was building muscle. He was in the gym all the time and he didn't know how to fuel his body properly to gain healthy muscle. And so that after that we met and then we've kind of gone through this nutrition stuff together. But you're exactly right. When your boys are in the gym, or if you have especially a boy or even a girl that has a hard time holding on to weight because of their genetics, you also want to teach them to be healthy in what they eat in a healthy way to gain weight or muscle mass. Because like you said, just being thin and being able to eat whatever you want is not going to make you healthy either. So I think that's important. And the other part I wanted to say was, I think it's also important when I work with other women, especially who want to get healthy, they say, I don't want to make 2 meals. I'm like, well, you shouldn't be making 2 meals. And she's like, well, my family won't eat this or that, which I understand. You may have to introduce things slowly, but you also don't want to set a precedence that the mom is eating something different than the rest of the family every night, because then your children are going to grow up thinking
mm,
that's what has to happen. And that's not what we want either. Again, we want something that's sustainable, that's you can do every day of your life, and just know where you should be health wise with your choices.
yeah, that's so true because I hate cooking more than one meal. I don't even like cooking one. So, my boys, a lot of times my husband's like, well, if you don't eat it, you can go to bed. That's kind of how he does. And I'm like, well, if they don't like it, if it's really something they don't like, if they try it, they can make themselves something, but at the same time, there's that balance of, do you really not like it? And I don't know, it's just such a weird spiral that you can get it yourself into. So I'm really excited to learn from you today as you give us a few tips as we kind of navigate the world of nutrition. And I'd love to talk a little bit more about the fact that we shouldn't have to make two meals. And I think this kind of will come with your first tip. But as you're telling us your first tip, I'd love for you to kind of also talk a little bit about picky eaters. Like, what do you do to help these picky eaters, or for busy moms like me who hate cooking? I mean, how do you prep something that's easy that everyone in the family loves? So what's your first tip for us?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say that, I'm not a medical professional. This is all things that I have learned by watching and plugging into other trainings by medical professionals. So that's the first thing that I just want to recommend off the bat. Make sure, because I even thought I knew. I was in fitness, I was teaching fitness classes, and I thought I knew what was healthy. So I really encourage people to go out and seek some information that is, and unfortunately, sometimes some of it's hard to come by, but seek some information that is going to be positive. And I can then at the end share some of those nutrition programs that I believe in, that I think are going to be helpful for people to live an everyday kind of life to be healthy. But my first tip is on food prep. And you're talking about picky eaters. And I was thinking about this when we were talking about dinners. So my youngest currently will say to me, Mom, I'm a vegetarian. I don't want any meat. And I'm like, all of our dinners have chicken or beef or, fish of some kind. And all of a sudden she's like, I don't want to eat that. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to eat that? Because I'm like you, I don't want to have to make more than one meal. So one of the things that I definitely do with my girls is they have to have a fruit, vegetable, protein at every meal. It's kind of like the standard before they can have any kind of junk. But I prep. And I don't like to prep full meals. I know there's some people who like prep all their dinner meals in a week. Like, I don't have time for that, nor do I have the patience or have any desire to do that. But I do prep vegetables and fruits, usually at the beginning of the week. And I've recruited my husband to help me. And we usually spend only like 30 minutes to 45 minutes prepping all of the fruits and vegetables for a week, which I don't think is bad for an entire week. So usually what we do is I like to have salads every day for lunch. So I cut up some peppers and some carrots and put them in a container. So that way it's easy for me just to throw my salad together. I have a friend who just puts a huge bowl of all the ingredients she wants in her salad all together. So then she just pulls out a serving each day. But basically for the kids and I, especially for lunches and dinner, the vegetables are the key. Now, if you can get your family to eat raw vegetables, do it, because they're actually more nutrient dense. They're more nutrient dense for you if you can get your kids to eat raw veggies. I personally don't like a ton of raw veggies. So we will have baby carrots on hand. If your family likes hummus, make sure you get some hummus. That would be really good. And they could dip cauliflower, broccoli, peppers, carrots in that. We do green beans. We steam green beans. I roast cauliflower in the oven. We do sometimes steamed carrots, broccoli, sweet potatoes. Those are our main ones that we do usually every week. And we steam them and cook them all at the same time. In fact, we have an amazing steamer that we absolutely love that I can tell you about or give you a link to on Amazon. It's amazing. It's by Bella. But it is the best steamer in the world. Oh, and I also do hard-boiled eggs in the steamer as well, because I put those on my salad. But we get all of that ready for the week, and then we just put it in big glass containers. And here's my other great tidbit about this. After you steam it or roast it, you want to put a paper towel underneath it to absorb the moisture so it doesn't go bad quicker. Now, I will, after like the first day or two, I will replace that paper towel or just take it out and just kind of soak up the water in the bottom of the pan. You want to use glass when you're doing it, but that really helps to keep the food fresh for the entire week. And then we can have those vegetables to use for the entire week. Then I just take some out and put it on their plates for lunch or for dinner, whatever we're having. And it's easy to grab and go, if you will. And then the fruits, if we've got some melons, we'll cut up those. Strawberries, I don't cut up early because those will get soggy quicker. But we've got cuties or bananas or apples that are quick, easy to grow. So when I have a kid who is picky with dinner, the first thing I will do too is I will, like you said, have them try a bite. They have to try a no thank you bite. I heard it called that and I love that. But they have to at least try some of it. But then I usually fill their plates with fruits and vegetables. And then I will have another quick protein that I don't mind if they have. Like I said, we have hard boiled eggs that are ready. I can easily throw a couple of eggs in a bowl and stick it in the microwave for a minute for scrambled eggs. I don't mind doing that kind of stuff, or a cheese stick. I'm trying to think of some other good protein stuff that I usually have her grab, but something like that. I even use there's a kid protein fruit vegetable shake mix that I will throw together in a shaker cup and she can have that. But I usually having those fruits and vegetables on hand and making it easy for them to start with that as a base, then it's easy for me to then fill their plates with the dinner that they might not like as much, but just give them a couple bites to eat.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great tip because I think just having those easy things on hand and not letting them get away with, oh, I'll just go get whatever I want. It's like, well, you still have these choices. You can't do anything. You need the protein or you need whatever it is. And so I think, and prepping food, I think is hard for me only because I hate cutting veggies. So I love the idea of maybe doing it together or having your kids involved or your husband, and you can kind of make it fun. Because I think that would be an easier way to do it. So I love that. I love the meal ideas that you're giving us. What else do you think that we need to know?
Well, I'm going to jump off of what you just said, but getting help, have somebody help you out, because that's the biggest thing when I talk to other moms is they're like, I don't have time for that. I got young kids running around and my husband won't help me, or maybe they haven't even thought to ask their husband to help. But I'll tell you, this is where we're at now. When my kids were younger, we had a sitter who would come a few days a week so I could get some work done. And she basically did all my food prep. Sometimes she even made my dinner for me. So then all I had to do is throw it in the oven. Now I know some people are like, oh, I can't afford that. And I totally understand because we couldn't at the time either. And then there was part of me that felt guilty for being a stay-at-home mom and still having someone come help me. But I felt there was a calling on my life too to do the work that I wanted to do as well. So my thing is get help. And even if you can't have someone come multiple days, if you have a local high school girl in your neighborhood, she could come for 2 hours a week. She could start a load of laundry for you, and then she could help with the food prep while you either do something else or play with the kids, whatever it may be. But then you're also helping teach this young girl how to be healthy and start healthy habits with her own food. And so I think it's good to bring that in and give them an idea of what it's like to have young kids and what that life would look like. And then she could help with some laundry or whatever. So I have a neighbor who has what she calls a mom helper, and she comes over and she does that, or the mom helper plays with the kids, gives the mom a break, and the mom can go and do the food prep. Maybe that's a good way for her to relax and have some downtime while somebody else is playing with her kids for a couple hours. And I think the biggest thing is to not feel guilty as a mom. Don't feel guilty about that. It is hard. Your kids are going to want you 24/7 all the time, and you can never give them enough. Even when I think I give them enough, that they're still crying that I didn't give them something else. I'm just like,
So
there's
true.
only so much I can do. So I think it's important for a mom to have that permission. Like it's okay to let someone else come play with your kids for a little bit, even if it's a grandparent. Maybe just let the grandparent know up front, hey, could you just have 2 hours while I get some stuff done? Whatever it may be, but find a way to get some help. Switch time with another mom.
Mhm.
If you have a mom that also has young kids, say, hey, I'll take them for 2 hours today. You take them for 2 hours tomorrow. Then you can, barter time, something like that. But I think that is a good way to do that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely want to get some help.
Yeah, that's good because I think asking for help is one of the hardest things for us as moms to do because we think we have to have it all together. We think, well, this is my job. This is what I got to do. And I agree. Actually, I did do a swap with one of my friends when we were back in Minnesota. I guess it's been a while now, but each month we each took a day. So I took her kids one day. She took my kids one day. And it was just nice because we had that time to do what we wanted to do, have a little me time, prep the house or whatever it was that we needed to do for that month. And that was awesome. And it was free. And my kids loved it because they played together because they're like best friends. And I loved it because I wasn't feeling like I was neglecting them or having them on guilt because they were having fun. So I love that. I love just come up with ways that you can do it. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, or you can give that high schooler the opportunity to learn. And I love learning based on lifestyle learning. I love that we can learn every day. It doesn't have to be in a book. And that's a way that we can
Right.
teach our high school, our high school kids, high school neighbors, friends who have high schoolers. We can teach them these things so that they can use them in real life. So we went through 2 tips already. What is your last tip for us today?
Okay. Well, the last tip that I wanted to talk about was getting some type of education on this because, like I said, I thought I had known all these things. And a lot of people I talk to say, well, I know what I need to do to be healthy. And really, I want to be like, but do you? Because that's what I thought too. And you don't want to insult someone's intelligence that they really don't know what's going on. But I really don't know what kind of training they've had. And if all they've had is things that they've been reading on the internet, it makes me a little nervous. So the first thing I want to say is I actually did a meal prepping course, and it was I think I called it Meal Prepping Made Easy. And I'll have that link for your listeners if they're interested. But in there, I talk about how I set up meals for the week, how I do food prep, more specifics than kind of what I went in with here. I have like 20 meals and ideas for kids for snacks. So all kinds of things where learn from somebody if you don't have a good system yourself. If you're not sure and you're going to the grocery store 2, 3 times a week to get groceries for the week, that's a huge time waster. So that's something that I can help with. I can help you with, I have a customizable grocery list where you can go ahead and put those things in and get ready to go. And I give you tips on how to maximize your time and lessen the time at the grocery store.
Mm.
So those are things that I think would be great to plug into to teach you systems on setting up meals, grocery shopping, having enough food in the house where you're not wasting the time going back and forth and you have healthy foods on hand, which I think is key. The other thing is the 2 nutrition programs that have taught me a ton. Again, they're all about teaching you how the nutrition works in your body, how these things work for your health. One is called the Ultimate Portion Fix, works with portion size, color coded portion size containers. They tell you how much of each food group you should be having every day based on your size and your weight and your level of activity. And then there's huge food lists and tons of recipes, hundreds of recipes online, which is super helpful, I think, because then you can, I, I got stuck having so many cookbooks that I didn't know what to do with myself. And actually in my nutrition, my meal planning course, I talk about going down to one cookbook and I tell you how to consolidate all those so you don't have this massive cupboard of cookbooks. But it has it all online. So you can go to a recipe, print just that one off, and then stick it in your one recipe binder of things that you know your family actually likes and will eat. And it makes that process way easier.
Mhm.
But so that's the portion controlled containers. It tells you how much of each food group to have each day. And then the other one is called To Be Mindset. And To Be Mindset focuses on 4 principles that you apply daily to help you achieve these results. And they're super easy things like, water first, veggies most. And it really teaches you food groups. So even in the portion control containers, they separate fruits and healthy carbs. But in To Be Mindset, it looks at all of those as carbs. And they talk about carbs as healthy carbs and silly carbs. But in the To Be Mindset, it's more about the percentage that's on your plate that you're looking at. What percentage should be protein? What percentage should be veggies? What percentage should be carbs? And then she gives you healthy tips if you're going out to eat, if you're at a cookout. How do I do this if I'm on vacation? So what is great about these nutrition trainings is they teach you for everyday life. It's not something you start and then you stop. It's something that makes you mindful of the choices that you're making with your food and helps you to be in control. Because I think that's the big thing is a lot of people use the food for control or they use it for comfort. So both programs also address, how you can maybe break the hold that the food has on you.
Yeah, That's good. I think getting educated, I'm all about that. When I talk about red hot mindset or when I talk about mindset, I talk about that. It's like educate yourself in all areas. And so nutrition
Mhm.
is no different. And honestly, I can plug your meal prep course because I did that and I actually loved it because I did gain a lot because I'm a minimalist. I hate clutter and stuff. And so like I was like the cookbooks. I go, I'm not going to use half of these things. So how do I condense this? And I loved that. That was probably the biggest thing I got out of the course. And I really enjoyed it. So it has helped me with picky eaters and figuring out how to do things along through the week with nutrition. So, I think this has been great. 3 big tips. The first one was to prep food. Have someone helping you prep food, put on some music, do it once a week, whatever, but prep that food so it's ready to go. Number 2 was to get help. Don't be afraid to ask. If you have older kids, put them to work, get a
Yeah.
mama's helper, whatever you need. And number 3 was to get educated. And I do highly recommend checking out the programs Erin has because she is very knowledgeable in this area, and I've learned a lot from her. That's why I brought her on to talk to you today. But those 3 things are going to help you in that area. Don't think about diet. Don't think about that culture. Think about making it a lifestyle change and changing it to some good habits that you can form for yourself, you can form for your kids, and really just grow with that. Because once you make it a habit, you no longer have to think about it. And I feel like with diets, no matter what you think about it, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Erin, this has been so fun. I know that listeners are probably going to want to connect with you. So can you tell me like the best place for them to go to find that connection?
Oh, yes, absolutely. They can reach me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Erin.Grieger1. They can find me on Instagram at Erin Grieger, or they could even email me at Erin4fitness@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thursday
Thank you
Tidbits.
for having me.
Yes. And we will have you on again. I have a couple more topics that Erin and I are going to be talking about. So look forward to hearing those as they come.
Thank you again, Gabe. Have a great day.